The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, BC Lions host a special tribute to residential school survivors.
Adult hockey is back thanks to vaccines.
And Lynn Valley residents mourn the death of a beloved bear. Welcome back to BCIT Magazine. I'm Joshua Rice.
And I'm Emma Albert. And here's what's going on in the Lower Mainland.
Tomorrow, September 30th, is the first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. While another election season has come and gone, my co-anchor Emma Albert explains why some youth First Nations voters have become reluctant to cast a ballot.
About like reservations, like comparing vaccines.
BCIT student Shelby Woida has been learning more about her Métis heritage. But for Woida, election season doesn't give her the highest hopes in leadership resolving Indigenous issues.
With a lot of more current Indigenous issues like clean drinking water. Why? I think that that's like a really important thing. Indigenous peoples wanting to govern themselves is a very important topic.
Truth and reconciliation was discussed at the debate. However, access for Indigenous peoples to vote may pose a problem for those who care most about these issues.
Polling stations like this one behind me are scarce in this election due to the pandemic. On top, Indigenous peoples have had a hard time in finding a polling station in their own communities.
According to Elections Canada, in 2015, 61.5% of Aboriginal electors voted, while in 2019 that percentage dropped to 51.8%, causing a decrease in votes by 10%.
I know it's difficult to want to engage in a system that essentially has actively oppressed your people for, generations.
McQuillan, being Métis himself, understands voter trust is an uphill battle.
There are young Indigenous activists that are out there. They're trying to gather people. They're trying to get them organized within the existing systems. But unfortunately, I don't know if that's fully translated to a full engagement by all Indigenous people at this time.
Stats reveal that Indigenous voting rates have decreased in recent elections, but Woida believes that the youth vote can make a big impact.
I think that young people voting is incredibly important. Not enough people under 30 vote. And I really strongly think that if everybody who was 18 voted, the election would be different. The outcome would be different.
Emma Albert in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Today, BCIT students and staff are invited to join elders to discuss the Day for Truth and Reconciliation. It will be a conversation about what the new statutory holiday means and what we each can do to move towards reconciliation.
The color orange for many decades has been associated with the BC Lions football team, but is now being embraced in a new way since Orange Shirt Day was established in 2013. Reporter Tejpaul Garcha explains the connection.
The BC Lions gave it their all in practice as they prepared for a special game honoring residential school survivors.
I'm hopeful our fans all across British Columbia will recognize the significance of creating awareness around National Truth and Reconciliation Day, as well as CFL fans across Canada.
Go Lions! On Friday, September 24th, fans jammed BC Place to see a game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and orange was the color of choice.
10,000 orange t-shirts are being handed out at today's game, designed by First Nations artist Kareen Hunt. Additionally, 350 tickets were provided to residential school survivors, each ticket being claimed with its own story.
With every request to attend the game, it wasn't just like, hi, I would like 2 tickets or I would like 4 tickets. Every request came with a backstory. And that's something that's been very meaningful to show people that the importance of the game is a lot larger.
The Lions players are aware of how important this game is to the First Nations community, and we're excited to play for them in such an electric atmosphere.
It's huge for the Lions to represent that, and to pay our tributes towards that, and as much as we can do to bring light and spread the message about this, it's big for our organization, it's big for our football club, and it's big for our province to lead the way in this.
Although the Lions lost the game, the organization and those involved made a great play in spreading awareness for Truth and Reconciliation Day. Tejpaul Garcha in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
We're joined now live by our reporter Tejpaul Garcha. Tejpaul, how did the Orange Shirt Day game come to be?
Well, it all started after 215 unmarked graves were revealed outside of the Kamloops Residential School last May. The BC Lions Vice President George Cheka and the Orange Shirt Society decided there was a connection and partnered up to help spread awareness for National Truth and Reconciliation Day.
And what was the fan turnout for Friday's game?
There was an electric atmosphere at the game as the fans turned out to a sellout crowd with over 10,000 people in the stands. Additionally, over 250,000 viewers tuned in from home. Back to you.
Thank you, Tejpaul.
In other sports news, the Vancouver Canucks are 1-1 with a loss to the Seattle Kraken and a win over the Calgary Flames. The Canucks look to bounce back against the Flames with a trip to the Saddle Dome on Friday, then returning home to Rogers Arena on Sunday for a date with the Winnipeg Jets.
Coming up after the break, Rugby 7's big return.
And a spike in rec hockey.
Going live in 3, 2, 1. BCIT Television and Video Production. You've got potential.
And cut. That's a wrap, folks.
BCIT, your future starts here.
Welcome back to BCIT Magazine. The Canucks aren't the only hockey team back on the ice. Thousands of rec hockey players across the Lower Mainland are back playing as well. All they need is proof of vaccination. Our reporter Michael Williams has more.
Yeah, I hope you didn't get that one back or pass out.
Rec hockey is back throughout the Lower Mainland. Organized by Canada's largest adult hockey league, the Adult Safe Hockey League. The ASHL was forced to shut down twice in 2020. This fall, with the following of provincial health guidelines, the ASHL implemented the mandatory vaccine card. The league is now able to run beyond full capacity with even more engagement. North Vancouver's league manager Stan Kwan said that the number of players and teams are up 30% from even pre-COVID days.
We've had more people happy, more people coming to the rink. People are just happy to playing in team sports. So it's been a great fall time for us at the facility with the number of teams and players out playing hockey.
The ASHL had tried to make it work earlier this year by removing offsides icings and face-offs to promote social distancing. There were even rules brought in to limit the time the players were allowed to spend in the dressing room. Many players were not happy with the modified rules, and this vaccine card allowed players to return to the traditional game. And for many in the league, the tradition is crucial.
The room with all the boys again and all, laughing, having a good time, just in there enjoying each other's company is, part of being a team and part of what makes a team sport like such a great event. And to have that back in our lives is just a privilege. And really thankful that we're able to get out here and play hockey again.
Even with the tradition returning, competition is what keeps players coming back.
I think as you kind of get older and get out of competitive sports, you need to have an outlet to keep that competitive fire going. And you know, it's pretty good hockey, and people try hard, and it's clean, but good, hard fun. And so you can come and have a good time and know that yeah, you're not just getting exercise, but you're getting to compete, which is something I think we can all appreciate as fun.
This current season will run through the winter, and the league has already amassed a waiting list for re-entry in December and for the summer season. Hockey is really back. Michael Williams in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
We are joined now live by reporter Michael Williams. Michael, how many players are there registered across the Lower Mainland?
They have over 575 teams registered across the Lower Mainland. That's over 7,000 players between North Vancouver, Burnaby, and Richmond.
And Michael, what's driving the popularity of the league?
Well, these vaccine cards have really made people feel a lot more comfortable. People are coming to the rink knowing that those around them have taken that extra step. Not to mention the reintroduction of ice hockey rules. You know, the games returned to 5-on-5. We got icings, offsides, and face-offs back. Passing it back to you.
Thank you, Michael.
The last event to hit BC Place in 2020 before the COVID-19 pandemic was the Rugby Sevens Series. The event, known for its crazy costumes and frenzied fans, is back. Our reporter Kevin Yee went to check out the action.
BC Place had been empty for a while, but roaring crowds have made their triumphant return. The World Rugby 7 Series returned to Vancouver on September 18th, one of the few large-scale events in the Stadium District this month. Rugby Sevens was also the last big event in Vancouver before the COVID-19 pandemic. For many fans, it makes a fitting bookend and reason to party.
To have an event like this and organised is, yeah, we're getting back to normal.
It's a big party.
We're the Docs and Socks pipe band. We are the pipe band of Rugby Sevens. We've been here every year, and we're glad to see it's back.
While it's clear that fans are happy for the return of Rugby Sevens, local businesses near BC Place are also pleased with the return of these large-scale events.
Business in the last year and a half has been, to be frank, terrible. So there's been no event business, there hasn't been any hotel business, there's no tourists. So it's been quite impactful, quite devastating.
Kovacevic's restaurant is directly across the street from BC Place. He says that the return of Rugby Sevens has been highly anticipated.
And I think it's just in the nick of time, actually, that these events are now opening up, where we can begin to start rebuilding the business and work towards getting back to where we were.
While it is nice to have customers, they still face challenges.
Business has come back and increased. The staff has not come back at the same pace.
Still, Rugby Sevens has returned to Vancouver. For the fans, that is worth celebrating.
It's amazing, thank God it's open. Thanks Canada for letting me come and stay, and thanks Vancouver.
Kevin Yee in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. Thanks for attending to Vancouver.
Coming up next, BCIT campus life gets back on track.
And we meet the man behind the restoration of Nissan Creek.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
Summer is over, and now it's time to fall into this month's community calendar. My name is Hugh Perkich, and here's your community calendar for September 29th.
Are you in search for a pumpkin? If you answered yes to this question, go check out Petey's Pumpkin Patch in Chilliwack. This event is filled with Halloween fun for all ages. And if you're looking for a good scare, go check out the Reaper's Maze of Terror. Petey's Pumpkin Patch is open all of October.
Whoa, I can't hold all these films. But you know who can? The Vancouver International Film Festival. In its 40th running this year, this film festival showcases 110 different films from many of Vancouver's different creatives. Come on down, it's worth the trip.
It's time to get your spook on. Fly Over Canada at Halloween is a fantastic event that's suitable for people of all ages. There are scary scenes at the pre-show event, and the theater is filled with Halloween characters. So come on down and strap yourself in for some spooktastic fun. That was your BCIT community calendar. Have a good one, Burnaby.
Welcome back to BCIT Magazine. After a beloved bear was killed recently on the North Shore, bear advocates are urging Lynn Valley residents to literally clean up their act. Reporter Sadie Chung shares the story of Rufus.
With fall in full swing, it's not just people and pets on trails, as bears are fattening up for hibernation, becoming more active and visible in the community. A local black bear known as Rufus was a frequent visitor to the Lynn Valley area, but was killed on September 15th by conservation officers after Rufus became too habituated to garbage and gardens.
One of multiple bears that was in that community, very sadly finding lots of unnatural foods such as garbage, organics, fruit trees, bird feeders on a very regular basis.
The North Shore Black Bear Society wants residents to adhere to bylaws by limiting waste off the curb on collection days no earlier than 5:30 a.m. and no later than 7:30 a.m. while keeping them locked. Hopefully that'll keep away more bears like Rufus.
Yeah, I've been watching Rufus almost daily on our security cameras, but just seeing an innocent bear who our family has grown to watch over the past little while, it's kind of heartbreaking to see.
According to provincial statistics, conservation officers were called as many as 3,500 times just in August regarding black bears. And so far in 2021, 236 black bears have been killed by officers across the province. When it comes to Rufus, a statement from the BC Conservation Officer Service says this bear was not a candidate for relocation. The risk to the public was simply far too great. The North Shore Black Bear Society wants to see more non-lethal management of black bears who find themselves in residential areas. This includes setting boundaries with voice and air horns.
We want people to act before these bears are being killed. We give these bears a name to create an identity so the community see them as individuals.
Cadman says by keeping wildlife attractants away, bears will remain safe in the community. Sadie Chung in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
We're joined now live with Sadie Chung. Sadie, are there more bylaws in place to prevent wildlife attractants in the District of North Vancouver?
Yes, so in addition to the solid waste removal bylaw, residents that leave out common attractants like bird feeders, barbecues, or fruit trees could be subject to a $250 fine.
And why are black bears more visible in the community right now?
Well, bears are preparing for hibernation. This means finding food sources to put on more weight. In Rufus's case, he was finding unnatural food sources, becoming more active and visible in the community. Back to you.
Thank you, Sadie.
On the topic of wildlife, the Vancouver Park Board has voted to fine people $500 for feeding animals in any Vancouver park. This decision comes after more than 40 reports of Stanley Park visitors being attacked by coyotes.
BCIT is back to in-person classes and full student housing. My co-anchor Joshua Rice investigates how many BCIT residents have reported an improvement in their mental health due to an ease of COVID-19 restrictions.
It's game night at BCIT student housing, and for third-year student Kit Sharma, this year has been a big improvement over last.
You know those living rooms and dining rooms? We were only allowed one person over there, so there was no chance of socializing at all. I almost felt like a ghost.
Second-year student resident Jackson still also how difficult it was living on campus last year with tighter housing restrictions in place.
It's definitely nicer just seeing people out and about in the common areas and in the kitchen. And it's not just make your food, go up, sit in your room, and eat. You don't ever see anyone.
BCIT student housing is at full capacity this after provincial officer Dr. Students must be fully vaccinated. BCIT is maintaining a tight cleaning schedule to keep student residents safe, but Vice President Lisa Collins says allowing roommates to come together has health benefits too.
But social interaction between students or informal learning or the opportunity to just blow off some steam when you need that or vent to a fellow student in a social environment, that's a really important enhancement to learning as well.
Radio art student Flint says they weren't sure how student housing would look this year, but they are very thankful for the way it has turned out so far.
Easing of the restrictions has definitely benefited to my mental health. If they had kept the restrictions on and I was isolated to my room, I would have easily slipped into a state of depression coming from such a small town to somewhere I don't know.
To ensure that housing restrictions can stay at ease, BCIT student residents must show proof of double vaccination before October 24th, or else they will be evicted from student housing. Lucky for students, BCIT has a COVID-19 vaccination clinic right on campus. I'm Joshua Rice with BCIT Magazine.
On October 26th, healthcare workers and volunteers will be required to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 in order to continue in their job. Those who refuse will be put on unpaid leave.
BC Rivers Day was held on Sunday. It started 4 decades ago and has expanded over 100 countries. This week, reporter Tiger Ann sat down with the founder of the movement, Mark Angelo, who explains how Rivers Day started with BCIT's Gishon Creek.
I'm joined by local river conservationist and the founder of BC Rivers Day, Mr. Mark Angelo. So from Burnaby, BC, now worldwide, and now we're looking back at Burnaby. Can you tell us a little more about Gishon Creek?
We started work on Gishon Creek almost 50 years ago. When I first saw it, BCIT was a relatively new institution, and the stream was in terrible shape. It was heavily polluted. So we decided to launch a major effort to try and clean up the creek, to try and bring it back to what it once was. And it was just wonderful to see that stream literally come back to life, to the point now where it's a vibrant little waterway again, and it sustains lots of fish and lots of wildlife.
The construction at Gishon Creek will let fishes pass through Burnaby Lake, where they will ultimately end up in the Fraser River. So you have been working on Gishon Creek for 50 years almost. What does it mean to you? What does Gishon Creek project mean to the BC Rivers Day?
I think Gishon Creek really epitomizes the latter. And to see this stream come back, to see the many students and staff and community volunteers that have been involved over the decades, and to see all of those efforts pay off, I think has been really heartening. And I think Gishon Creek shows that we can, in fact, turn things around.
So what is your plan for the future?
Well, I've also produced my first illustrated children's book entitled The Little Creek That Could, the story of a stream that came back to life. And it tells the story of Gishon Creek and really highlights that message that nature can, in fact, recover if only we give it a chance. And I think to deliver that kind of message to children is so important. And I must admit, I do a lot of work with young people, with kids, and I'm really excited about the interest that so many of them have in environmental issues. And I think that gives me a reason for hope in the future.
Mark said that he hopes to engage people to a greater degree with their local waterways so they can enjoy it and learn about it. Tiger Ann in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcitnews.com.
And that's BCIT Magazine for September 29th. I'm Joshua Rice.
And I'm Emma Albert. We hope you take some time tomorrow as a way to learn more about the National Day